Hey everyone! Today I'm going to be touring all of my Bloxburg plots, and I'm also going to delete a few. I have 15 plots to show you guys, so let's get right into it. So the first plot I'm actually on right now, and it is called Hotel Room. As you can see, it is a simple hotel room. I only made this because my brother built a hotel room in Bloxburg, and he asked me to renovate the one he made. So I did, and I loved the result so much that I copied it over onto my plot and changed things up a little bit. I built this without any game passes on his plot, so that was pretty challenging, but I think it turned out really good. I think this just shows that you don't need basic shapes or anything too fancy to make a good build. My favorite part of this room is definitely the color theme. It took me like an hour to decide this color theme, and I've never done it before, but it makes the room look so luxurious and fancy, even though it's not that expensive. There's also an outside area in the back here where I just was. I absolutely love this, and it looks 10 times better than just looking out at the boring plot background. This didn't even take me that long to add. It took like 5 minutes and was super easy. I'm considering making a full hotel build with this theme and color scheme, so if that's something you guys would want to see, let me know in the comments down below. The next plot is called Modern Mini Mansion. If you've watched my channel before, you've probably seen this build. It's sort of like my main house. This build took me forever to finish for some reason. I started it in 2023 and just finished all the rooms on the last day of 2024. This build was so out of my comfort zone when I made this, with the colors and the theme and layout and everything. Before I made this build, all of my builds looked like the 2020 blush aesthetic houses. I was addicted to that style, and I really struggled to try anything new until I made this, and now my builds look pretty different. If you played in 2020, you will know what I'm talking about. These houses were literally everywhere, but after I made this house, my builds definitely started to improve quite a bit, and I really got to experiment with different styles and colors. My favorite part of this is the backyard. It's super pretty and has a lot of landscaping and detail. I love backyards, so I always go out of my way to make sure they look good. The upstairs is kind of interesting. I don't love this laundry room over here, and most of the bedrooms are kind of just average, but the master bedroom, I put like a little spa TV area going into it. The master bedroom itself isn't anything exceptional, but it has a really big balcony up front, so I definitely want to add something out here. I just don't know what I would add. And finally, the last bedroom actually has a little secret room. The next plot is Loft Apartment. This is also an interior only build. The outside is just a box. However, the inside is an apartment. I made this in summer of 2024 for like background footage of a video. I really wanted to experiment with realistic building and different color themes. But something I never liked about realistic builds is how they don't have much color. I think realistic houses are beautiful, but I think the color themes are pretty boring and monotone. So in this build, I made sure to add some pops of color, mostly pink and blue, because I love the color pink and I really like the feeling of this apartment. It's kind of like a coastal theme, but you could really use it at any time of the year. The next plot is Beach House. I made this in the summer of 2023, and this was my first ever realistic styled house. It's not that realistic, but it's definitely a step up from my 2020 builds. This was my first time ever using transparent decals, and I think it turned out pretty realistic looking. I also really like the color theme. I used custom colors from like Pinterest for this, and it definitely looks better than any of the default Bloxburg colors. I think the color wheel is one of the best updates we've ever had. I also don't know what I was thinking with this living room. There's a door right behind the couch, but there's barely any room to get to. Since this build, my layouts have definitely gotten a lot better. You can actually move around in the houses I build now. The backyard is what I'm the most proud of with this. This entire porch and patio area with the stairs is fully made with basic shapes, and it took me a little bit to figure out how to do it, but it looks so custom. There's also just a lot of stuff you can do back here and a really pretty ocean view. The lanterns make it look so pretty when it's nighttime. For the second floor, there's not too much to see, just some more bedrooms and bathrooms. This build has 2 master bedrooms, and each master bedroom has its little hallway like this, and a pretty spacious bathroom as well. The bedrooms though are super cramped. This is like a disaster. I don't know what I was thinking. You literally cannot move around in this room and there's just so much going on. But overall, I am pretty proud of this build, and with a little bit of renovation, I think it could be a lot better. The next plot is Luxury House. I was just working on this a few days ago. This is a rebuild of a house I made in a building tips video. I liked it a lot, but for some reason I bulldozed it, so I had to recreate it, and this is what I have going so far. I think this would qualify as a mansion because of how much room it has inside. I'll show you guys the layout. I really like the layout of this build. It's one of my favorite that I've ever made. There's just so much space on the first floor for open rooms, so there could be a lot of dining rooms and seating. And for some reason, I forgot to paint this wall here, so let me fix that. The second floor has a ton of bedrooms and bathrooms, so there's really not a lack of space in this build. You could probably have like 10 people living here. I really like how this is going so far though, so hopefully I can finish it at some point. The next plot is Valentine's Garden. So I made this originally just as a thumbnail background, and then I got bored and decorated it more, and it turned into like a Valentine's party area thingy. There's actually smoke coming out of the ground here, and I'll show you guys why. There's actually a dungeon below these tables. I made this for my video on Bloxburg secrets to like demonstrate how you can make a dungeon and trap people in it, and I just never deleted this. As for the rest of the build though, I really got carried away and just started adding a ton of gardening and plants and details. I put a ton of fireflies above the pond back here, and it's so pretty. I think the fireflies are one of the best build mode items we've ever gotten. The next plot is Fiverr House. So as the name suggests, this house was built for me by someone on Fiverr. I will put their Roblox username on the screen. I think they made this for me in like 2022, and you can't even tell. It looks like a build you could still see in 2025. However, the inside is kind of a mess right now. I recolored it for winter last year, and then I didn't like the color theme, but I was too lazy to change it back. So it kind of has this weird like blue color theme. Originally, the color theme looked so much better. There's also still fall decals throughout this build because I never bothered to change them. There's an October one over here for some reason. Aside from the color theme though, I still really like the inside. I think it's super detailed and super pretty. There's also a basement I added recently with a spa and a movie theater. I really liked this build the way it was originally. I don't know why I even changed it. So when I get the time, I'm going to revert this back to its original color theme and decals, and I think it's gonna look a lot better that way. The next plot is color schemes, and as you can see, it's literally just a plot of color themes. I've always struggled with coloring my builds in Bloxburg, so this plot has just been really good for ideas and inspiration. The next plot is called Winter Suburban, and this plot isn't very expensive. I made this just for a thumbnail background, and then I never used it again. I really like the green accents I did on the outside though. I made a layout for the inside, but I don't think I'm ever gonna finish this build. I might actually go back and delete it, but I really don't like deleting my plots, so I'm gonna put it off for now. The next plot is house layout. So this is pretty similar to the last plot. This is just a really simple house layout with a really simple color theme and everything. There's nothing too special about this. I'm not even sure what I made this for, but here's the layout for those of you who want to see it. The next plot is called How to Build. This is actually one of my favorite builds. I made this last year and really experimented with some new colors and some of the cheaper items in build mode. I made a little bit of the inside, but I didn't get that far with it. The outside without any of the inside decorations costs 10K, which I'm so proud of. I usually do really bad with budget builds, but for some reason this one I did so good on, and it still has room for everything you could need in a house. The next plot is small suburban house. This is still a work in progress. I think I started it sometime in December when I just wanted to experiment with like different windows and decorations and color themes. There's really not too much to say about this build, but I do hope to finish it someday. The next plot is town layout. As you can see, this is the start of a town. It doesn't look like it, but this layout took me forever to come up with. I struggled for a long time to figure out how to make a good town layout since I've never made a town before, and I'm really proud of how this one turned out. There's plenty of street room and parking and sidewalks and buildings and just everything you can need in a town. I am planning on doing a town series on my channel soon, but I need to figure out the color theme and some other small details first. I didn't do the interior of any of these buildings except the apartment in the corner. It's a super small apartment, but I made a pretty good layout for it. There's room for everything you need. The next plot is called Cabin. I also made this build recently. I built it as background footage for some Christmas or winter video. There's nothing too interesting about it except like the landscaping and all the decorations. And there's nothing inside, but for some reason, this table in the corner, that's literally the only furniture in the entire house. I honestly want to delete this, but I'm gonna keep it because I might use it next year and I might want to decorate the inside for background footage. The next plot is 1K house. So this plot is pretty self-explanatory, but it doesn't even cost $1,000. It went over the budget and costs 2.3K, but that's still pretty cheap. It doesn't even have a pathway. The inside is obviously super minimal, but considering the cost of the house, it's really not that bad. In my opinion, it still looks better than the starter home. I just made this as a fun challenge to maybe post as a short, but it didn't really turn out that great, so I'm actually gonna bulldoze this just for the plot space. The next plot is modern house. I also made this for background footage for a video last year, and the stepping stones over the water don't actually work, so you can just fall in the water. This is basically like a worse version of the how to build plot I showed you guys earlier. It has the same color theme, but the layout just isn't it. I feel like the inside is super sad and depressing, and the more expensive modern doors and windows just don't really look that good with this build. I've also never used this plot, so I am going to delete it, and I will get 34K back, which really isn't that bad. I will take it. And finally, the last plot is Christmas modern house. This is also a more recent build. I've really been loving this modern house style with the dark brown and white. So in this build, I just expanded on that color theme and added some dark green and red for Christmas. And honestly, I think it looks so good. I also started the inside, but there isn't that much to see. Over here, there is a hatch. Okay, I actually forgot about this. There's a whole basement under the house, and I never decorated it or anything. I made my own custom ladder, so it looked modern and matched the house, and it actually is broken, I think. I don't think you can get back upstairs with this ladder. I'm trying to like jump, and it's not letting me. So this is actually a trap as well. You literally can't get back. I have to go in build mode to get out of this. Anyway, here are the rest of the rooms so far. Anyway, that is going to be all for this video. Feel free to subscribe for more Bloxburg content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.